Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Meeting's called to order. We're going to do a roll call. Let's do a roll call.
Okay. Ms. Beaupre? Here. Ms. Hefner? Here. Mr. Richmond? Mr. Engard?
Here.
Mr. Bozak?
Here.
Mr. Scott?
Here.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any minutes from the last meeting that
We don't.
personnel. Okay. No problem.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Just trying to make sure. So we're here to discuss the issues of the DORA and the insurance issues with the
All events
festival.
permit application.
Yep.
That's this here, sorry, I spilled coffee on mine this morning, but it was tell you to work. Oh my goodness, it's a mess. I want to go through this, no, I got notes on this.
Okay.
I'd like to go through this, Mr. Bozak, if it's agreeable with you, and see how we got. What my question is, how did we get from this, because I wasn't at the meetings, from our all events permit application that we had, I would say last year around September, to this 1, 2, ultimately 3-page, this 3-page document. So how do we go from 1 page to 3 page? I don't expect you to answer that. You wasn't here. I would ask the rest of the board that was here during that time to help me understand how did we get from this simple document that seemed to take care of all of our needs and all of our liabilities to this. Mr. Engard, do you know how?
I'm not for sure. I know Josh is the one who drafted this all up,
Yep.
so.
A lot of revisions, yeah.
So,
Please.
last September, when we had our festival,
Sure.
there were things that were not put in place that put the village at risk.
Okay.
I had mentioned to you in 3 separate meetings to make sure that when you had the food vendors come, to get us named as additionally insured. I called Josh 10 days before the event to see if he had received that paperwork on each of the food vendors to make sure that we were additionally insured. He said, I know nothing about the festival, I've been left out of the loop. I said, well, we got to know whether we've got those. I said, could you reach out to the mayor and ask him? And so he did. He got back to me and said, Mayor doesn't have any idea what you're talking about. And I said, I mentioned it 3 times to him in the meetings, and he said, yes, he'd take care of it. I said, we need to get those. I said, are we covered through our insurance? Josh said, I don't know. He says, I haven't done anything for this festival to get it taken care of. I said, could you reach out to our insurance company and make sure that we are covered for the festival? That was 10 days before.
10 days.
And so it took Josh 10 days to get an answer. I mean, we were going back and forth
Sure,
with the
sure.
insurance company.
Absolutely.
And it took 10 days to get, it was the day before at 3:30 because some other issues came
Yes.
up with the DORA
Yes.
at that time.
These things
And
are-
they were concerned that we would not be covered for the DORA because it hadn't been registered. It was registered, but it hadn't been posted on the government site. So we were going back and forth trying to get that all squared away for the festival. It was at 3:30 the day before that we got confirmation that we were covered both on the DORA and we had insurance for the festival. Had you not signed the paper that they had you sign and us agreeing to pay the $2,500, we would not have had insurance for that festival. If something should have happened, we would have been on the hook for everything. So at that time, I said to Josh, we need to update our policy.
Yeah.
And that's how that got started. And now, the things that I asked specifically to put in there was, one, that whoever hosting the festival would have a $2 million policy to cover and name us as additionally insured. And then all food vendors would, because Wood County Health Department wasn't contacted either about the festival to let them know that we were having a festival and having food vendors here. So we put that in there. Then the other thing.
What is it? I'm sorry. What was put in
Just that we
there?
have to contact Wood County Health Department and let them know that we're having food vendors here, so that they have the opportunity to come and see. Also, that the food vendors have to supply us with their license and insurance of $1 million to name us as additionally insured. Those were the three things that and cover any electrical cords going across the sidewalks so that there was no tripping hazard.
Sure.
Because all those things can get us sued if you know,
Agreed.
we'd be on the hook for all of it if we didn't have those measures in place.
Agreed.
That was the only thing I asked for him to put in. Then he went ahead and
Right.
did whatever research.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I did a lot of
Josh?
documents were provided to me by PEP, general liability insurance stuff that they wanted to put in there. I put a lot of that was incorporated into what you already provided and was also discussed with council.
So that's how that came about.
Well,
It was strictly done to put measures in place to protect our village from any type of lawsuits that could come down the pipe from having something like that happen.
Sure. So is it just for festivals or anybody that's doing?
Well, I mean, I guess if there's an event being held, I mean, we call it a festival, but I mean, if there's an event of some sort, say somebody's having a car show, that's not necessarily a festival, but they're having a car show. They would have to abide by those same things. If they didn't bring food vendors in, of course, they don't need to
Sure.
supply that information, but they would need to have some insurance coverage. Because otherwise, and this is, if the village isn't putting it on. If the village is putting it on, like the 150 and 250, we are responsible for that, and we have to reach out to our insurance company to make sure that we are covered if there's an additional fee or whatever. But if another entity comes in and holds a festival or an event, then they would need that insurance in place. If they're going to, and I believe you put wording in there, and again, I wasn't part of the numbers as far as how many gather. But I believe you put that in there, that if it's over 100 or something like that, that's when they have to have the insurance coverage?
If it's under 50, they don't have it.
Okay.
So I
And
remember
again,
seeing some of that
I wasn't
conversation.
a part of that. That was something
It is 50.
I didn't really discuss with Josh on.
So who does it, I guess so, all right, I'd like to go through here, well, thank you for that update. So I know going into the festival, the village of North Baltimore, up to the time of the Dora, was covered by PEP for special events. It's in their policy, it's in what we pay for. We had discussed, so I want to go back just real quick so we have some history on kind of how we got here a little bit. So when I became the mayor, the two things the two most pressing issues that I've got put upon me was fix the roads and get the festivals back in the village of North Baltimore. Those are the two. Even by this body up here, which I agreed with. And we worked to get that. I said, okay. So the first thought that I had that we tried to make happen was the Chamber of Commerce always took care of all these things on behalf of the village. We said, look, the Chamber's not going to do these things. We need to have a committee, just like this committee, and we will have somebody up here that will chair it so that we never get into this situation again. We have actually a body that's going to watch over this.
Part of council.
Part of council,
Yeah.
yep, just like a finance committee, the personnel ordinance and review committee. We were gonna have, I think we was talking about putting it under the economic development committee. It was gonna be part of that, is what we was talking about doing. That was me and Chase working on that. That's how I knew that we was covered, because he got hold of Pep, and Pep said, yes, you guys are covered for that. That was before the door. So I'm very, I want to get back so everybody here knows how, kind of what, some history behind all this. we said, okay, how are we gonna pay for this event every year? We said, okay, well, we're trying to pass a half percent income tax, because with it being oversaw by the village, up here, this body, we needed to have some money outside of our general fund, is what we was looking for, some additional revenue that would just be just earmarked for that purpose. So when we tried to pass the half percent, there was a certain portions that went to streets, drainage, parks, and festival. $20,000 to go to festival. So we had a plan. When the I think it was it was after that failed. I'm almost positive after that failed. Dee asked me, hey, what are we going to do about festivals? I said, hey, we're going to work on it. Don't worry about it. We'll work on it as a group. I hope you guys, and if I say something that I'm not, please just stop me. And I was like, hey, don't worry. We was all saying, we got to have these festivals, we got to have these festivals. And I agreed. Like I was saying, we will do it. But at that time, Josh and I was working on a 501c3 and a 501c6. And I said, look, we're going to try to get a 501c3 established since they Jeff Dennis told us at a meeting, do not, he said, do not have anything to do that needs to be separate. The village he's the reason, one of the reasons, I'm sorry, he's the primary reason why we didn't put it under a committee. Because he said, do not do that. You need to separate that for liability purposes. And one of us asked, one of you guys asked, one of the council members, I believe, asked, well, can we donate to it? And he said, yes, you can donate to it, but don't have anything to do with it. For liability purposes, you need to separate that. Do we remember that?
I don't remember that conversation,
Yeah,
but I'm not saying it didn't happen.
No, yeah, I remember Jeff made that comment, and we was like, okay, now what do we do? Well, that's what led us to try and create the 501c3. Because the question was asked, can we donate to the 501c3? One of the council members asked it, and he was like, yes, you can do that. You know, just make sure that it's going to a liable or a recognized 501c3 or something to that effect. He was like, okay, yeah, gotta be careful because it's taxpayer money. So we changed gears and said, okay, then we need to create a 501c3, somewhat like the Chamber of Commerce. At that time when we was working, so Josh and I started making phone calls. We talked to Patrick Sadowski, am I correct in saying that?
Yes, of course.
We was trying to create the 501c3, the 501c6, which is a whole different,
We'll talk about that.
yeah, which is a whole different, not-for-profit thing that the village can use for economic development. So as we're working on this, trying to get this created, at that point, everybody, it seemed like was on, and I said, look, so we came back, I remember we talked about, hey, here's what we're doing. We just talked to Patrick Sadowski, he's an attorney down in Findlay. He's going to help us get a 501c3 started. He's going to help us get a 501c6 started, which is economic development. It helps us do things down the road. But we're going to need some funding to help us get there because we have nothing established right now. And there was nobody that was upset with it, didn't. So then then Tony put in there, so we made up, so for the 2025 budget, there was $17,000 that I requested to be put back. I think only $15,000 was put back. And I had to put back in economic development. Well, I had to put back in, and I told this body what it was. 7,000 of it was for an economic community and development dinner that we was all going to try to coordinate and have for all the businesses, and and $10,000 was supposed to be for the festival. I remember talking about that. Tony put that in the budget under. Oh, I need to get that done. I need to grab my phone.
Okay.
Yes, please. For the festival, but there was only $15,000 put in there, which is fine. It was way more than what we needed anyhow. Come out something about
The way I remember it
please.
is you had asked council to support, and we had appropriated $10,000.
For the festival,
Yes,
yes,
yes, that's
yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah, yes, 10,000 for, yes, you are absolutely right.
Okay.
But we ended up
I
with
think you said
7.
it backwards.
Oh, I'm
Or-
sorry.
And
No.
that's fine, that's
Yeah.
fine, I just
Yeah.
wanted to correct, and the other thing
Yeah.
is I don't recall, and maybe the rest of council, maybe I missed that Tuesday or whatever, I don't recall any of that conversation with Jeff Dennis, and I don't know if it
Yes.
happened in a meeting, or if it was.
I don't
Yes.
think it did, or I don't remember it.
Yeah,
I
I don't
remember
remember any of
hearing
that.
about it.
Yeah, he said it, yeah.
Because I found out
Yes.
later that you were gonna form a 501c3, and that's where the confusion came in for me, because I didn't know if the village was doing it, so I didn't
No,
hear Jeff Dennis
no, no.
say the village wouldn't,
No,
because I
because
was.
I think it makes complete sense, especially with the
I
insurance
noticed
type
it.
of thing. I think it makes complete
Yeah.
sense to have it.
And I know he
Oh,
said.
no, I'm not saying that.
Right.
What I'm just saying
Right.
is,
You
I
don't
wasn't
recall.
either in the meeting,
Right.
or it didn't happen in the
Yeah.
meeting, that's all.
Yes, that's exactly right. I know it was in a meeting. I don't know if it was an actual meeting, or I don't know if it was okay, well, it had to have been an actual meeting, because I don't think we had talked to him.
Right, okay.
We wouldn't have talked to him. And I specifically remember him saying that, I mean, he,
And I don't doubt
no,
that,
no,
I'm just
I
saying
know
that
you're not, I know
didn't
you're
know
not,
that, so
I know you're
it's
not questioning it. But that's how we came to, okay, now we gotta change gears and see what we can do about creating a 501c3. But then the question came up, and I'm jumping forward, I'll probably have to go back. So, one of the things that kind of hurt me was when we had the conversation, and I see what you guys was trying to make sure that the village's money is being spent responsibly. Anything that I had anything to do with spending, it was done responsibly. You can go back and check. But when we had the conversation about mayor's discretionary fund, right? And when you guys had that conversation, even with Paul Scaff, it was almost like a slap to my face, like I'm trying to do something. I know, please, I just want to share with you how I feel. And it was a slap to my face, like I was trying to hide money or do something. And so the reason why I asked for my phone, because that fund was set up even before Ned Sponsler was mayor. And I went to Ned and I said, Ned, do you remember when, and I got it here if anybody wants me to read it.
Can I interject?
Yes, please.
Okay, so what happened when we were working on trying to get insurance coverage for the festival in September, he had reached out to Paul, and Paul had said, and I had no clue, I knew we had appropriated 10,000. I didn't know where it went in the budget. I didn't pay attention to where it went. And Paul brought up and said, you know, you guys have a mayor's discretionary fund with $14,000 in it. And he says, I'm afraid that's going to get you in trouble and get you audited. And so at that point, that's when we started asking questions, well, what do you mean? And he says,
Right.
there's no oversight on this. There has to be oversight because you're using taxpayers' money. So that's why it was nothing against you. It was that it was pointed out to us that we should have never had a mayor's discretionary fund, and we should not have that kind of money in it at all,
Sure.
because there's no oversight. So it was nothing directed at you in any way, shape, or form. It was just something that we needed to rectify to go, wherever we put this, there has to be oversight. And that was on Paul's recommendation.
Yeah.
He was saying that we did something wrong, and we didn't, and you know, I had asked questions, I was asking Matt and Josh, they didn't have the answers, and no one
Right.
really wanted to reach out to anyone because they were afraid of backlash. So it was like, okay, you know, we'll just fix this by putting it somewhere else, or doing, you know,
Sure.
doing something else, but that, it was all on what Paul had said
But,
to us.
and I just want you guys to know, I didn't recommend that it went in there. I didn't care
No,
where
and
they
I
put it.
know,
And I know you don't.
and I wasn't insinuating you did. I believe the mayor's
Yeah.
discretionary fund was set up long before
It
you were
was.
mayor. But it's not, it's, I don't know if this is the right term, but it's not legal. It's not
Right.
legal to do it
No,
that way.
I get that.
So-
I get that. And I'm glad that we fixed it. I have no,
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know though, I reached out to Ned Sponsor, who was the mayor, when I came on. I said, Ned, I know it's been a long time ago, but when you were mayor, do you remember having funds available to spend on certain things at the mayor's discretion? That's what I asked him. He said, I believe I was able to spend up to a certain amount without the council's consent. For some reason, 5,000, that's what it was. It was $5,000 a year was always put into that fund. I remember that aspect because when I chaired finance, I remember that. He said $5,000 pops in my head, but that also seems a bit high. I think as long as there was justification, it was permitted. So it was the mayor's discretionary fund was all the way back then.
Right, no, and,
Right, so.
and like I said, it had
So-
nothing to do with you personally. It had something to do with the way we were operating, and it needed change.
Yeah, Paul told us in that meeting that it was not above board to have money in the discretionary fund.
Right,
He said it would lead to an audit. is what he
Right.
told
Yeah,
us.
but it never did, right? So it's been in there that long. I'm not saying that we should have left
Yeah,
it in
right.
there. I'm certainly not saying, hey,
Yeah.
we didn't
Good
get
thing is,
audited.
it sounds like we're evolving and making sure we are preventing this from happening.
We've had plenty of audits since
Yeah.
Ned was mayor, and they've never said anything about it. I don't really care that,
Yeah.
what you guys set up. That's up to you guys. You guys are over the funding. I just don't want to be accused of it, and that's how I felt, like I was being accused of doing something,
No,
and that's why
I mean, it
that's why I
was
got
like
upset.
that.
It was like,
just brought to our attention,
Okay,
and it was like,
so-
okay, we've gotta correct this so we don't get in trouble.
And he recommended just adding a line item in the budget for,
That's right.
Yep,
so it's clear what it was going for.
So then, I don't know how we got from this to this. In my opinion, I think this took care of it. And you're saying, so in that time, I can, working with Chase up to Josh coming on, we was covered for special events. It was already in our coverage. I seen the document that said it, and then I had Josh pull it up for me. We found it in there. Now, it was a 2015, but it's never been updated. I don't know that we've ever had it.
If I may, sir.
Yes.
My understanding is we were covered for the event, and the charges we were given was specifically because of the door,
Yeah.
additional exposure.
Yeah.
That's what the supplemental application for special event liquor liability that Dare filled out for that festival came into play. What I think to answer your question, sir, is it came about. This all came about because I incorporated a special events best practices, a special events checklist, and we have in front of you the risk transfer guidelines. A lot of it's
From who?
from PEP. It's all from PEP.
Yes, of course.
Which I believe that a lot of the wording is straight from PEP.
Yeah.
So I incorporated all that into a policy. So I think we could have done better with that festival. I think that was because we weren't sure what we were doing necessarily because it was our first festival.
It was thrown together.
It was thrown together, and I think that I throw it all together in a. It's still a complicated document for the most part. There's a lot going on, but still, I tried to incorporate the best I could the best practices and everything that was given by PEP, so we didn't have to go through this all again, and we were protected overall going forward.
So there's where I got some concerns. We were best practices by PEP and didn't really reach out to anybody else and find out, because we have found out since then it's not necessarily best practice. Would you agree with that?
Not necessarily best practice in
I've
regards
got
to
that right here.
the additionally insured stuff. That's what you're
Yes.
referring to.
Anything.
A lot of this has to do with stuff completely separate from additionally insured. Most of it, I would say, has to do with stuff completely separate from additionally insured.
Well, like Laura said, like we're going to carry $1 million policy, right? Laura said in that meeting that that's plenty for
Laura's,
Highland.
Ohio plan from Highland that's going to give us a proposal that Matt, myself, and Josh sat down with. They're our PEP's competitor. And do you want to talk about that at all, about how we got to talk to PEP, or to Highland?
Her name is Lori Manning.
Manning.
She's the agent. They're based out of Toledo. They've been around for a long time. They currently insure North Baltimore schools.
township?
The township recently. She said that they couldn't really compete with PEP until the last couple of years. PEP had like some transition, basically like essentially sold to another. I can't really describe what
Sure.
part of it.
Yeah.
So somewhere in that transition, they are now competitive or beating PEP, essentially cost-wise. So I think Ted knows more from Henry Township. They switched sometime in the last year from their PEP, but when it comes to Township that falls under Otarma. You can call them brothers, you can call them sisters. They work under the same umbrella. But that's what I know of the market we're in right now. For some reason, PEP prices are not as competitive as they were.
Okay.
So
3
the
years
lorry
ago.
that you're talking about is not our insurance agent.
No.
So this really has
no.
nothing,
She
we
is
are not
not.
covered under anything she said.
Well, as far as best practices go.
Choose to go there.
Yes, but as far as
Not
best
our
practices.
insurance.
Well, why, yeah, one of my concerns is, I don't disagree with that at all. We are under PEP. One of my concerns are PEP is taking advantage of us, in my opinion, over the $2,500 one-day event that they charge us for. And why that wasn't ever contested is concerning to me, right? They come in and they're charging $2,500 for a one-day event, September 20th of 2025, and nobody questioned that. That is very, very concerning. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, at the
I have
point,
a-
we were under the gun.
Well,
We were under the
no
gun.
time.
It was literally 3:30 the day before the festival. We didn't have any time to argue, to
The
question. I
the
mean-
insurance on the Dora wasn't for one day though, was it?
It wasn't
for
for
the
one
entire
That's right,
year.
and I didn't realize that was just for the Dora.
Yes.
So, you know,
My
I'm a little
understanding it was
confused on-
not for one day, it was
It was for the Dora.
it was for the door of the year kind of thing, I
Okay,
believe.
so that 2,500 is for the
Year.
coverage for the entire year.
That's how I interpret
Hold
it.
on,
I'm gonna put
I
that
got
right
the
here.
emails back and forth.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's the
no,
email.
like I just read through all of these, and that's how I interpreted that also.
That it's the Dora.
It was the Dora that
It was
caused
for the
fees.
Dora.
It did, I agree with that, for
Okay,
sure.
and I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's where I was going with it. It was just, it wasn't a one-day insurance. It
Right.
was-
Well, we didn't have time to contest anything or ask any questions. Like I said, it was 3:30 on Friday before that we got coverage.
But
And, or
the-
that we were told by the insurance company.
The other thing that I was gonna bring up, as far as best practices, if you look at Toledo, Lima, Findlay, Bowling Green, they all charge for insurance.
They don't charge for
They all
insurance.
require the insurance. They all have insurance mandates.
Yeah,
I'm not-
for the people on the Dora, yeah.
Yes.
Hold on, guys, I'm not, well, are you saying that they require the businesses, because Perrysburg does not,
Yes.
to name the village, or the
Yes,
entity?
yes.
Because Perrysburg does not, Finley
They-
does not, unless, so here's where I think where the last conversation that everybody was getting a little frustrated with, especially Eric, was.
Yeah, because I was like, if I have to say the word additionally insured one more time, jump out the window.
1,000, 2,000 annually.
Yeah.
That's-
So,
So here's the thing, I've got a question. I don't really care what Bowling Green, Perrysburg, or anyone else does. Why wouldn't we want to do what's best for our community?
'Cause I think we
And
are.
wait a minute, let me finish, please. And in my opinion, what is best is that we have layers of protection before it gets to the village's money, the citizens' money that they paid in for taxpayers' money. And each layer of protection that we have protects that even more.
yeah.
So I don't understand why we would argue about that.
This isn't an argument, this is a discussion.
Well, okay,
It's called-
why-
what
why
it's
would
called
we
is- it's-
disagree
What it's
about
called
that?
is a risk transfer guideline, huh? Is a risk of transfer guidelines. So we're asking them to take on the liability for something that they're not really even involved in.
But they are involved.
So what about somebody that's setting up on, so,
Okay.
Are we talking Dora, or are we talking?
we're talking Dora, we're talking Dora.
They're the ones serving the alcohol.
So,
Yeah.
okay, help me understand what's the difference of me going in and drinking a few beers and walking out and,
And vandalizing something.
no,
Oh, okay, go
and
ahead.
just, the village is liable once I step on the.
No, here's the thing, if you're drinking in their establishment, and they go out and they're drunk, and they go out and they get in an accident, they can come back on that establishment.
Sure.
They're not gonna come back on North Baltimore.
Sure.
No, they're not gonna
Agreed.
come back on the village.
Agreed.
Okay, but now they've given the alcohol, and now they're out on the street walking around, and now the village, because we have accepted Dora, that we've put in place Dora, now the village also can be held responsible.
Because we've
So-
set up a publicly acceptable place to
Correct.
consume Dora purchased alcohol.
Correct, so if we're gonna do that, then we're gonna foot the bill for the entire lawsuit if there should
No,
ever
that's
be
not
one.
necessarily the case. I don't
Unless
agree.
they also name us as additional insured, which is that layer of protection that I'm talking about.
So if they served, overserved somebody and they went down an accident,
They get in
who,
trouble.
okay, by who?
Whoever, the third party that's
Yeah,
gonna sue them.
how are they gonna find out who's responsible? How are they gonna find out?
They're gonna, wherever they buy the alcohol from, they.
So who's gonna determine that?
Well, they're gonna investigate and
Right
find out.
there, that's all I'm asking, Dee, Dee, that's my whole point. If somebody gets hurt in a Dora, are they not gonna
But the
investigate?
Dora, we are part of the Dora, the village is now part of the
We
Dora.
own the Dora.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I
Yeah.
know that, guys. What
Okay,
if-
then if we're part of the Dora, they can bring us into that lawsuit.
Yeah.
They can
If we
bring
didn't-
us
into any
And
lawsuit.
they're, and the thing is
You
But we
guys-
can
here we go
we
again.
can defend
I don't
ourselves.
get to talk. Here we go. We're right back.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it's called risk transfer, and it's what it is. It's risk transfer, and I get who. So PEP, yes, PEP is our carrier. They have Dora down in Upper Sandusky, and they don't require Upper Sandusky to have it. I'm asking why don't they? Right? Why are they requiring our
Why are
businesses?
you asking us?
I'm not. Please.
Well, I'm saying, I can't answer that.
You guys feel like I'm trying to I'm not coming at you, I'm trying to make heads and tails on how, so the way that it works in Finley, if somebody sets up on their property, then yes, they have to, that's the reason why if it's a food vendor, they have to name the village, because they are doing business on village property. Right? That's the whole reason why. I even asked Laura, so how do we get to this, right? If somebody does business, so I looked up, I thought, how can we have the same people that, like, I care about the liability of the village of North Baltimore, you guys care about the liability, so how can we be so far apart on, in my opinion, everybody's covered. The village has liability, the events host has liability, the business has liability. What we're trying to do is just say, all right, let's take the liability that could potentially be on us and just transfer it back to somebody else. That's exactly what he says in his email thread. Right? A risk transfer. That's exactly what risk transfer is. And I'm saying, if everybody's covered, why are we trying to pass it back on somebody that's... So I looked it up and I said, okay, how can we be so far apart? The difference is, this risk transfer guidelines was set up, when I looked into it, is when people are doing business on your property, buying or selling, right? That's what I found online. So I'm saying, okay, there's where I would agree. If somebody's buying or selling or doing business or work on village property, I agree 100%.
They are though, technically,
No, they're not.
the Dora,
No, they're not.
they are selling a Dora cup and going out onto our property to consume it. So we're business partners.
No, that's no. Once they leave that establishment, their liability stops. We created the Dora. They had nothing to do with the Dora.
Who does it? The businesses?
Yeah.
Oh, they, I mean, they
So
don't
how
have
does
to
that work
participate.
when they overserve that patron?
But
And they're,
how does that change, Dee? Like, what if they do it?
because
I
now they've
agree.
overserved that patron. That patron
All right.
is completely drunk, and he's out here in our Dora. And if they had served him responsibly, then the incident, and I'm saying there isn't an incident, I'm just saying, and the incident wouldn't have occurred. It's those kind of things that we can't
What's the
foresee.
difference between a Dora and, I mean,
Today.
they drink it in the bar. And
Well,
it's-
what's now, if we don't have a Dora, and I walk outside of a bar hammered and take my beer that I bought in the bar, that's solely on me and the bar.
Are you saying walk outside of the bar with a beer in your hand?
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a liability, or who's the liability come down. Like,
If I get
that's
hammered,
against the
it's-
law. That's absolutely against the law. You're gonna get-
100%, yeah, but we're providing a space for them to drink in legally outside of the bar, so we are business partners with that bar.
Actually, if you leave that bar with...
Yes!
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
If you leave that
I'm
bar
sorry.
with the beer,
Sorry.
they can get in trouble.
Yeah.
The establishment can get in trouble because they allowed you.
Oh, 100%.
You're
Yeah.
saying outside of the door.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yes.
outside of their establishment, not the Dora.
Yes,
I'm
I
saying-
agree. That's exactly, that's what
Right
I'm saying,
now,
guys.
because we have Dora.
Right.
Right, but guys, that's exactly what I'm
Well, what
talking
if it
about.
wasn't in designated cup?
Once somebody walks outside an establishment, outside of the door area with a beer in their hand, that's illegal as all get out. That's
Right.
that's
But
not
the
what we're
establishment,
talking
even though it's illegal for the person that walked out, the establishment can get in trouble for it.
That's exactly right.
Right, but here's the thing, and we can sit here and we all understand that certain ones of us feel that there needs to be additional insured added, and certain ones don't. And I guess it's just the bottom line is, what are you asking council, what do you really want from council? What do you want us to do? And then council can either agree or disagree. I don't know why we have to sit here and argue.
I'm not
Discuss-
arguing.
Okay, I don't know why we have to sit here and go back and forth for multiple meetings on this. Tell us what you want, and then we can decide whether we can do that.
Well, after conversing, I'm thinking anybody that does work on the village property needs to be name the village on their insurance.
100%, I believe we all agree with that.
Yep. Now, we have to, now that brings up another, that's buying or selling on village property, not in their personal establishment. I'm asking that the businesses are not required to name, this is what I'm asking, that the businesses are not required to name the village on their policy as long as they have liability insurance. The village has liability insurance, and anybody else that's doing business out there, being the host of any event or has liability insurance. Everybody's covered. That's where I can't seem to think. There's where I can't. If everybody's covered, we're just talking about. If somebody goes outside of there, if there's not a door in place, and somebody goes outside of there and gets hurt, they're going to go back on that. Nothing changes there, guys.
So the establishments don't want to do this?
I don't know. I have not talked. Oh, no, I've not. No, I've not talked. No, I just don't understand what we're talking about layers of coverage. When does it stop? So let me ask this.
It stops when you put the village as additionally insured. It's over.
No, that's not what I meant. You're just.
No, you're asking when does it stop? Like we're just going to keep. If they want to participate in DORA, they have that box checked on their insurance that names the village.
So it only applies to those selling alcohol? What about those buying and selling out on regular property? What about when a store sets up something outside and is starting to buy and sell? That's the whole reason for the transfer of liability, from what I understand.
I don't know. Give me an example.
So in your mind, you're only thinking about beer establishments.
No.
I'm talking about anybody
Well,
else.
it sounds like it's two different things. We're talking about festival and vendors. But I think we've already all agreed that if someone comes and sells, if I set up a French fry wagon, I have to have insurance. I got to call the health department, have a license.
Agreed.
And I got to list the villages and additional insurance.
Because how come? I agree with you, but why? Why do they have to do that? I agree.
Because the state allows for it,
Yeah,
number one.
I agree, but what? Yes, I agree, but it's because they're what's the qualification? Because they're buying and selling on the Village of North Baltimore's property? They're conducting business on the Village of North Baltimore property?
No, but
correct?
see, if it's like craft vendors. We don't require them to have.
That's what I'm asking.
Because they're not selling any food. See, the food could potentially harm someone,
Agreed.
Get someone sick.
Agreed.
Beer or alcohol could potentially create a problem because
Agreed.
of intoxication.
Agreed.
It could be, whatever. So those are the establishments that we're requiring that for. But if they already have a business in town and they say they do a sidewalk sale, we aren't requiring them to do
Perfect.
anything.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's they're covered with, because they're going inside and ringing up and stuff like that. That's part of their.
Okay.
But you understand that when we bring food vendors in, or when we allow DORA and alcohol to be served outside, or not served outside, but
No.
walk around outside, we are creating more issues that could possibly go south and create lawsuits.
And I disagree with you.
And that's fine, I disagree.
What I'm saying is everybody's covered though if that happens, right? Everybody's covered. That's the whole purpose for the DORA.
Why?
That's why we pay for the DORA, right? So
Why do you think insurance companies require additionally insured? Why do
They
you
don't.
think-
Not all of them do. I'm sorry.
Why do you think they offer, I'm not saying, required was the wrong word. Why do you think they offer a certificate of additionally insured? Why do you think they do that?
I don't know.
To protect
It's a
the
risk
entity
transfer.
that's
right?
hosting the festival
I get you.
or the event or
It's a
DORA.
risk transfer, and that's what my concern is everybody's already covered, guys. What are we doing? That's my concern. That's why
We are, so that when it goes to court, we have a leg to stand on to say, we had everyone give us additional insurance. So
that's-
they've got to come in on this lawsuit.
That's
too.
why we paid the
And we're
20
going to go after them first and then come to us. Now, if you want to put the citizens' money out there, the taxpayers'
not what
money
I'm
out there,
saying.
and cover it all, then that's where we're going to be if we don't name additionally
See,
insured.
that's
I'm
what
not on
we've
board
done.
with that.
Okay, let me just say this then, because we paid $2,500 last year for the year evidently. It was for a one-day event, that's what he charged for, but if they're gonna, after me contesting it with with them, if he's gonna consider it as, do you got the paperwork that showed outside of this that it was for the whole year?
I believe it was.
Prior to-
during our
prior
video
to me-
call,
I don't-
But that was a little while ago, that was
No.
not recorded.
So, Dee, we paid $2,500 of taxpayer for the whole year, right? So now we're already covered. It's covered. The liability for the DORA is covered. We created the DORA. So we're not gonna get any reduction for whether we require
I'm
them
not
or
worried
don't
about
require
a
them.
reduction, I'm worried about if there's a lawsuit and who's gonna pay the millions.
That's what the liability is for. That's what we paid PEP
Right,
for. That's
so
what
you
we
want the
paid.
village to be on the hook for all of it.
It's our property. What do we?
It's not our
Can I-
alcohol.
Can I
Yes,
answer a question on another?
It's your chair.
Okay. Fireworks requires $1 million of insurance, and typically, I'm leave this to you, the village is named on that policy. I know the city of Toledo is named on the policy.
I absolutely required that on our fire.
Sure.
We have 2 million.
All right,
They should.
so that's high risk, right?
Yes, they should.
You don't think the alcohol is high risk to the community?
But they're doing, hold on, Richard, the difference is they're lighting the if I light off fireworks on my own personal property, I don't have to name the village. The reason why they have to carry that is because they're lighting them off on public property, on our property,
And
Richard.
that alcohol is going
It's
on
going
public
on.
Our property.
Yes, but that's what we're paying liability for that purpose, guys. They're paying their liability, we're paying our liability. There's where I can't, you're saying it's layers of coverage. The layer of coverage is unnecessary in my mind, and that's why I can't understand it. I
Can we
can't
agree to
comprehend it.
disagree?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
I know I have been told over the phone, and I believe it's over email too, but if the establishments participating in DORA do this whole initially insured thing, the cost to us will go
Go
down.
down. It
Like,
says it
I can
in-
guarantee you that much. It could be even close to $0, but I can't remember that much right now. I know it'll be reduced at the very least. From the $1,000, $2,000 annually, that'll go down. So I know that much from my conversations with Mr. Welsh, and I believe it's probably mentioned in.
What's the cost that they don't mention?
That's something only an underwriter can tell me, and Mr. Welsh would not tell me that.
I thought that it was.
Underwriter would do that.
He said it, oh, that might have gone with mine then or yours. I think you've asked the question. Did you copy this one? Because this is yours. This is from you.
So it'd be
That is you.
$1,000,
Did you copy them on this?
They should have.
Sure hope so. So it says, Mr. Welsh, please confirm that I'm understanding the coverage scenario is correct. Special event only, no additional cost.
Right here.
Yep.
I have it.
Special event door participating liquor establishments naming the village as additionally insured, no additional cost. Special event door participating liquor establishments not naming the village as additionally insured. Where's
I really
here?
got
Zero
it. We,
additional charge.
Right.
What is it?
I was just reading, I hadn't read this yet.
Yes.
But so it would be an additional charge if we don't name them as additionally insured.
They don't name us. as additional insured.
Pardon me?
The other way around. They don't name us. as
Oh, yes,
additional- yeah,
exactly, I'm
I
sorry.
got you. I know what you're
Yes,
saying.
I misspoke on that, yep.
It's not necessary, guys, and it's wrong that we as a village are, we got an inconsistent special events.
And that's where I have to respectfully disagree with you,
Okay.
because I do believe it's necessary.
Okay.
And the rest of council has to decide whether they believe it's necessary to protect our village with an additional layer of protection.
The village is protected, 100%.
But we'd be on the hook for all of it if we got sued.
Well, how?
Because
I
we're the
don't
only one that come
understand
after
that.
them, we're the ones that are insured.
We are
We're the ones
paying the
who just
right.
sit there and said we're insured, and we are insured, but we want that extra layer of protection to help with any lawsuit. Because I guarantee they're gonna go after the establishment first.
And they should go after the establishment.
Right, but if they're not
that's what
named
we're
as
saying.
additionally insured, they don't have to. They can come
Yes,
after
they
us
do.
only. No, they don't.
They can pick and choose who they want to go after.
Who's gonna pick and choose?
The lawyers of the
Attorney.
lawyers.
Oh my
insurance
gosh,
companies.
that's part of the investigation, that's why I asked you that earlier, guys.
Do you know, do you have a crystal ball on how that investigation's gonna go? Because
They
I don't,
sue the
and I know what
biggest
that layer of
fish in the
protection
pond.
is.
All right.
Biggest pocket.
Yeah, they always go after the biggest pocket.
All right, okay, look, it's, okay. We should not, 100%, especially talking to Highlight, I don't care if you guys don't want to hear what Highlight had to say or not, Highlight said that, talking to them, so I don't know who you was, Highlight issues DORA and the village pays for liability insurance for DORA areas. Laura stated they usually do not charge for DORA liability. It is part of them doing business with us. And that this is common for businesses doing business on public property, buying and selling on public property. Because it's not as big a deal as we're making it out. That's why Highland, Ohio plan says it's not as big a deal as what we're making it, and that's what I took from our conversation. She did not say that. There's a video that stated they would not require as long as the business is not operating on public property. Highland would not require unless doing business on, if they were setting up on public property. Businesses should be required to show evidence that they carry liability, which agree 100%, we need to protect the village. I agree. I think we're overprotecting for no reason at all, because it's not that big of a deal with the DORA. If it was that big of a deal, she said it would be very little. Do you remember her saying that, Matt? That it would be very little, or it would be no additional cost for a DORA. Do you remember her saying that? Because you're the one that asked the question. I just watched the video, that's why I'm asking.
I heard the same.
When we were charged the $2,500 that Pep charged us for a one-day event, yeah, he could have changed his position on it. That was for a one-day event. After I contested it with him, I asked the question. Here's what they do in Finley. They do not require it in Perrysburg, and the reason why I bring up Upper Sandusky that they do not require it from Upper Sandusky is because Pep is the carrier for Upper Sandusky. So that is inconsistent, right? That is, I'm not saying that I'll get to my points. Go ahead, please.
Do you know if Upper Sandusky has agreed to eat that cost?
I just know that they're not, no, they just said they don't charge it to them. They are not required. So when there was a phone call made to a council person down there that sits on their board committee or their DORA committee, and he said, no, we don't require that. We don't charge us for it. That's what now that's third party to me. I did not talk to the gentleman.
And it is a little weird that Mr. Welsh didn't go into details himself regarding, because this was the 2020 email stating he doesn't use a PEP number, and he doesn't mention it later in his 2020. I'm sorry.
When they charged us the $2,500 for a day, for the one day, and that's what they charged us for one day, she said, oh my goodness, that's insane. It's $300 to $500 for an event. $500 max, and she went into detail what would parades are part of their special events, would be in the policy, I think, and then along the lines of what Jeff said, Lori also stated it is very smart to separate nonprofit organizations from village when holding events for liability purposes. This is the same reason Jeff, and then not really just it's the same thing Jeff Dennis told us, that we should not be involved in those things. So when we talk about the inconsistencies of this policy, it says this policy establishes consistent procedures for reviewing, approving, and managing events within the village of North Baltimore. It seems, so who would this apply to? Who does this apply to that's so consistent? This policy, all this risk transfer, all these, like this, because when I asked Laura if $1 million coverage should be sufficient to cover any one day.
I'm sorry, you're asking a question. Who does this apply to? But I'm confused as to what applies.
It seems to me that it only applies to the festival organization. That's why I'm asking.
That you're talking the policy?
I'm sorry, yes.
It applies to us right now, holding this event in June. I'm jumping through all those hoops, and there's not that many to jump through. I literally sent out to all the vendors the stipulations of what was required in there of them. They had to name us as additionally insured.
I agree with that.
And nobody had any problems with that. So I'm not sure what you're saying. Who does this apply to? It's not just your organization, it's anyone that holds an event in this village, including council.
So this states, okay, the insurance, down in paragraph 6, insurance requirements.
Right.
Says insurance shall not be required for events that meet all of the following criteria. So if it meets all the following criteria, you do not have to have insurance. The event is a small, non-commercial gathering hosted by an individual or informal group. Attendance does not exceed 50 people. Persons at any one time, no admission fee is charged, and no sales of foods, goods, services, or alcohol occur. The event does not require street closures, amplified sound, tent stages, inflatable generators, or other temporary structures. The event does not require on-site police, fire, public works staffing beyond routine patrol, and the event does not present unusual risk, pace, nature, duration, or location of activity. Events meeting all criteria are waived from insurance requirements. Who would that apply to?
Well,
If
you're
the
holding a
Boy
private-
Scouts
Right.
are down at the scout house and they are having a little jamboree.
Yeah. They don't have to carry insurance liability,
They fall under all of that,
but they would fall under it. We're shutting the park down.
not if it's on their property. The scout house isn't on public property.
I think the village owns that, doesn't it?
No, the Legion does.
But don't they, that's fine, that's great. So, but don't they shut the park down for that event?
I just mean, I didn't say
Sure,
their jamboree, I
sure.
said a small jamboree.
Sure, absolutely.
If Cotterman's is having a party on their thing, and I'm super sorry, guys, but I absolutely have to.
So if they shut the road down at Cotterman's, because that's what brought this up, because I know
They
the
have to have it.
conversation. What's that?
Then they have
They're gonna
to
have
have
$2 million worth of,
I want to say one more thing, I apologize, Mayor. So it seems like, when it comes to Dora, going back to Dora, we either pass the ordinance mandating additionally insured for establishments, or we eat the cost of $2,000 approximately annually. I will say that I did confirm with Paul and double check the ORC myself, we can have the Dora without any establishments participating in said Dora. They just have to exist within it. Does somebody want you to know? I mean, I would much rather have the
So where
establishments
they-
participate, but legally, they don't have to.
so where are they gonna get the beer to participate? Where are they gonna get the alcohol?
On beer time. We do beer
Yeah.
time, so it's.
Do like an outside thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I want to make sure I mentioned that before you left. Yep.
So then the beer tent has to carry $2 million worth of liability.
Or we are the ones who run the beer.
There's the inconsistencies that I'm talking about.
Well, because
What's the-
like for our festival in June, the fire department is going to do the beer tent. So I believe we're.
You guys are,
We're gonna
Ted?
be under our.
We want to.
Right.
You guys are
And so
doing
that's
beer
gonna be
tent.
under our insurance.
This door,
And he has said that he would give us some, donation to help cover that. So it's not like the village is gonna eat that.
Yeah,
Or
if
the
it's
Legion.
gonna cost, yeah, if it's gonna cost $500, $600, $700, we had this
you got
discussion.
a
the
$2
other
million
day. If it costs us that, it's not even worth it, because I still got paid for all the
Mm.
beer, and if I
Right.
don't have a big crowd, we eat all that money.
Right.
No, I meant.
So Dee's going to
That's what
fill
I'm
out.
here, to find out how this beer test's gonna work out.
Yeah, so Dee's going to fill out the supplemental application, we would call it, same thing you filled out before, where Mr. Welch is going to get that, get it to his underwriter. That's the big problem. The underwriter, we don't have direct contact with. It has to go through Mr. Welch. And then we'll find out the price of all that, the way we are going to do it, and or go from there.
it's already being paid for. From what you said
Right.
earlier, it's
It
already
should
being
be
paid
already
for.
covered, but we need to check with them. We can't just go, well, it's already covered and go on our way. We have to make sure that all this is taken
So
care
the
of.
citizens are still paying for it. What am I missing here?
Because we're hosting the festival. If we weren't hosting the festival, then council agreed that we would host the 150th
Yeah,
or 200th.
and that's a bad idea according to what our past attorney said. That's
To
what
host
Jeff,
the festival?
yes, that's what Jeff Dennis told us.
No, he said the 501c3, I thought was.
No, he said, no, that's the whole that's why we created, if we knew we was gonna host festivals, Dee, we would've never went through the whole process of creating a 501c3. That's what we said we were gonna do in the first place, was host festivals. That's why I started off. And Jeff Dennis told us not to. That's why we created the 501c3. That's the only reason. Because he said, and the council agreed, that we did not want anything to do with the festivals. We could support it financially, but did not want anything to
We
do with it.
didn't.
Or else we would have never we would have never created the 501c3. Do you know what a headache that was getting that thing created?
Okay, but I'm confused.
Okay.
I mean, we sat right here when the gal from the Historical Society, what's her name?
Pam?
Yes.
Pam, yes, when Pam
Yes.
came in. And nobody did anything, and she came back and asked, hey, are you gonna do anything, you know? And we sat here and we're like, yeah, we'll do something. And that's how that, I mean, I don't know what you want us to do.
Agreed.
I mean,
I agree.
this is a one-time festival that we're doing, and all council agreed that we would do this for the 150th and 250th. So, yes, we have to supply the insurance for that, because we're hosting that. Whoever's hosting it has to have the insurance.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Okay.
I disagree with the $2 million. That's a lot for a
I believe that's mentioned in the information given to me by PEP. I believe you had it in the risk transfer document you had in front of you, sir.
I know exactly where you
I believe I read
got all that
information.
information.
So, I mean, I just going off of that, copy and paste most of that, threw it on the policy.
Yeah, so who, I guess again, outside of the downtown festivals, who would this apply to? What?
Any church, any group that's gonna have a festival over 50 people. A lot of communities have bigger churches than what we have.
$2 million policy for a one-day event.
So that goes back to if you have a birthday party down at the,
Or a family reunion.
or a family reunion.
We talked about the fact that that needs to be changed, that it's to close the park.
Yeah, not if you run a shelter house.
Right.
That's
And we
what-
never intended for that, so if the wording makes it
That's-
sound like that's what it was.
That's what it does. I was
Yes,
just
yes.
trying to,
There was
I
no
mean, there's a
intention of
few
that.
things in this, what I really like to.
And so some of the wording may need change
Yeah.
to clarify. That does not include if you rent a shelter house and
Yeah,
have
and
your family.
that's why I'm just
reunion.
saying, in this, how I read it, that's what it says.
Okay.
That's why I just wanted to
So-
make sure we change all the wording. I mean,
And
we
that's
really
fine.
need to go down through this,
Yeah.
right? I mean.
Give me hypotheticals and I'll do my.
I will right now.
It's better if I just.
So when the way that this should work is, the way that this should work is when somebody fills out a policy, an events permit, it should come before council, and council would decide if they allow it or they don't allow it, just like every other time. Not the administrator, not the mayor.
I
the-
agree with that.
Yes.
100%.
That's not in here.
No, it's,
The-
he's
the-
got it as
the
village
re-
administrator and mayor.
The legislative authority has control over all public property.
That can easily be changed.
I know.
What I'm saying, you're saying you don't like it that way, and I'm agreeing, that can easily be changed. It can go, it can come to the
Here,
council.
yeah, here comes that.
Here comes what? I'm agreeing with you.
I know you
can
are.
change it. Mayor, I'm sorry, could you explain please?
Yeah, just the frustration. I mean, I'm seeing it from Eric over there.
I think we're all
I'm starting to see- Yeah.
We're all
I agree.
frustrated. And, you know, I guess, list the things that you don't feel that you feel need changed, and we can either agree or disagree that, yes, we.
The
agree with
legislative body decides on if these are approved or not. Every one of them comes before you guys.
Right.
That's got to be. The second is $2 million. I know you agree with that.
Okay,
Dean.
okay.
The second, $2 million, and the third, the businesses being required to name the village on their insurance. It's an
That's for the
overview.
DORA. Now wait, we're back to the
Yeah.
DORA.
Yeah, but it's in here.
Okay,
But-
so,
It's in here also.
Do you,
I'm almost positive it's in here.
no, the business, only if they're participating in the DORA.
Yeah, yes.
okay,
Yes.
Bowling Green requires all their downtown businesses to have general
Hold on, I'm
liability.
trying to listen to him.
Do we require that?
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay.
No.
Bowling Green requires all the businesses downtown to have general liability.
We don't require that.
Do we
It's not
require
listed.
that?
It's state law that they do though, guys.
It's state law, we don't
And
require
I
it. We
think
don't
that-
have anything
Do
to
you,
follow.
can you show me that they do?
I
There's
think
where the
in order for
problem
them
is.
to- No, that's not a problem. If they participate in the DORA, we should require that they show the liability. That's,
But if
yes,
they,
we should.
but if they participate in the DORA, annually, they're supposed to provide it to us.
I don't know that anybody, has anybody ever asked them?
You
Does
you
anybody
don't
want
have to
business?
ask them, they're
I get-
supposed to
okay,
provide.
so this whole door thing's new to everybody, Richard.
Okay.
Just so you know. I mean, this isn't something, we're trying to figure it out as we go.
Right. I understand that. I've
So,
also looked into other doors and
I-
stuff since
I
we
agree
talked.
100%. If they are gonna participate, just like any other
But
business,
it's not
They
just
should have to.
Fedora. Bowling Green requires it for every business
I
in town.
agree. If they were doing business in the village of North Baltimore, they should be required to show that they have liability insurance. I agree, 100%. They should show that they are covered
But
for
we don't-
liability.
One of the other things is, we have no clue whether they are or not right now.
We could, yeah, but we could simply pass, we could pass I'm sorry, Dee. What? Please.
I am frustrated because
Sure.
I just don't understand what, okay, so now you're saying we can have them required to show us that they're insured.
Yes.
But we can't ask them to put us on as additionally insured.
Well,
And I don't understand why, because normally, and there may be a small fee for them, but normally it doesn't cost a darn thing.
There is. That's okay.
But you say that, and you said you haven't talked to them, so I don't know how you know that.
I got it from
Because
my-
I know for a fact that all the food vendors coming in, they don't get charged.
Because
For naming us
I-
as additionally
and I don't
insured. So I
disagree.
don't know why an establishment would,
I-
but they might. But if it is, it's minimal at best, because that's what I've researched.
I got it from my
It's between
attorney.
$50 and $150 a year. And to me, that's just the price of doing business to participate in the DORA.
Have you guys looked at our downtown?
Do you understand that we are gonna be on the hook for
No, we're not.
everything?
Not if everybody has
We don't
insurance.
name them as additionally insured.
If everybody's required to show their liability, then no, we're not on the hook. They are liable for their, no, I disagree.
That is one of the outs that the state
That's
gives
exactly
for
right.
DORA.
I agree
If
with that.
They have general liability and liquor liability.
Yes.
And both of those are $1 million policies.
Absolutely. And if they set up on the village of North Baltimore, then they are required, they should be required, if they set up anything, if they do a beer tent, if they set up anything out front of their establishment on public property, they should be required to name the village, because they're doing business on property.
The state also allows you to require any business in the DORA to name you as.
I understand that. I'm asking us not to require that. Not everybody does that.
And
And
I'm
that's what
asking why? Why would you want the village to take the brunt of a lawsuit rather than have that extra layer of protection? Please explain it to me, why you don't want.
Because I believe that the layer of protection is there, Dee. That's what I keep saying. If the business shows that they have liability, just as you just requested, and I agree with that 100%. If the village has liability, and anybody else that's holding any event has liability coverage, where aren't we covered? That's what I don't understand, guys. That's the hang-up. And we're saying we want more and more and more and more, and I'm saying it's not required.
See,
Let me just say this, because here's what I was gonna say was, guys, if you looked at the downtown lately, we're saying minimum cost to these businesses, they can't sustain it. We're already heading to a ghost town. Why would we want to do anything that would hinder them from, the whole purpose, if you read our mission statement, because it is to bring people together in the village of North Baltimore to promote economic, I'm sorry?
Economic development.
No, economic surplus, yes, economic development, we gotta get these businesses, guys, they are running in deficits down there. I mean, we are dear,
Show me proof that they have to pay an exorbitant fee to participate in the DORA. Show me that.
No, I'm saying they have, no, D. I will, Patrick Sadowski sent it to me when I asked him. And yes, there is a fee. I didn't say it was an exorbitant fee, but the statement was made they don't have to pay anything. And I don't disagree that maybe a food vendor does that.
Is the attorney?
He's our attorney, yes.
How would he know wait a minute,
Yeah.
how would he know what Whistle Stop has to pay for naming us as additionally
He
insured?
does. He does. He reached out to, because he represents a lot of clients, and some of them are business owners in the city of Findlay, so he reached out to a bunch of them, or a couple of them. Can't say a bunch of them, but he reached out to a couple of them and asked how this thing works. And he sent that back to me. He said, so, yes, it may be minimum, D, but we gotta help our businesses, not hinder, guys, we are in big trouble.
We passed DORA to help those businesses.
Yeah,
We are taking on a fee to help those businesses. We are paying additional insurance over DORA to help 3 businesses in this town.
Yeah, but we wanna say we wanna stop doing that in order for them to
And
cover
so
that.
we did that for them, because the village doesn't get anything out of that, right? We actually spent money
Guys,
to, now wait a minute.
no, please.
We spent money to create signs and create a DORA in this town, which cost us money to do. And all we're asking them to do, to participate, is name us as additionally insured. That's it.
Yep, but Dee, sometimes we have to invest in our
And we
community
did,
in order
and we
for.
were on board with that, and we did. So they don't want to name us as additionally insured?
I don't know, I
Just to
haven't
help
talked to
protect
them.
the citizens' tax dollars?
Dee, I don't, see, that's what I'm saying, it's already
Okay.
protected, I'm not, it's already protected, their tax dollars are protected. With all the liability, so if you're saying, you know, if the businesses show that they have liability, then.
Well, provided it's liquor liability and
Yep,
criminal
and
liability.
all liability.
But
Personal property.
it also states in there by the state requirements that the municipality can require additionally insured.
I already know that, Richard, that's why we're having this conversation, I'm trying to convince us that we do not want that requirement, I don't know why, I don't, well, so if you guys don't want to entertain it, don't entertain it, right? And that's just like the way that it's gonna go, and we'll have to deal with it at a later time, that's all, we'll just deal with it at a later time.
What does that mean, deal with it at a later time? If we pass an ordinance that stipulates they need it, what does that mean?
It can be amended.
Oh, I see what you mean, okay.
Did I say something that offended?
I need
Okay, yeah.
clarification, that's all.
Yeah, it can be amended, and it should get amended if you guys don't support that. I don't think that it's too much to ask to just say, look, everybody's covered, let's just do business, we should be trying to help promote downtown, and that's exactly what you said when you stood out there,
And I believe that, okay?
Yeah, well, it
I do
doesn't seem
believe
like
that.
it.
But I
It
also
doesn't seem
think-
like it, Richard.
I also think that protecting the village is important. The city of Toledo
I agree.
requires to be named on all their insurance policies at festival time and
I
at
agree.
fireworks.
I agree with that, because they're doing, but, Richard, the difference is, they're doing business on their property. I agree with that. I
The
agree.
Dora people had to pay the insurance the same way and name businesses as additionally insured.
The city.
The city, yes.
Well,
And I want to clarify that how this body is supporting our downtown businesses. Really, we passed the DORA for the downtown businesses.
The only-
So don't you dare go back and say that we're not supporting the downtown businesses.
The only event that is support, tell me another event that supported the downtown business except what we did last year in September. What have we done as a body to help support them, except pay a little bit, a $2,500?
Passing the DORA so that the establishments can sell alcohol to walk outside.
We're now talking about, hey, if they don't want to participate, it's all right, we'll go forward anyhow. That's what I'm saying, like, he
All
just
they have
made
to do
that
is name us
comment.
additionally insured to participate.
And I disagree that they should be
One
required to do
requirement.
that. No,
One
no.
requirement. That's it.
No, there's other requirements. There's forcing them to purchase cups, right? Purchase cups and put names on them. That's the other topic.
Because we need to be able to regulate this. You go to all kinds of different cups. I even talked to Mr. Roberts about this, and he said absolutely we need to have our police sergeant.
We have two Roberts.
I'm sorry, the sergeant. He and I talked about this, and I asked him, I said, do you believe we need to have designated cups? And he goes, absolutely. And I said, why? And he says, because. He says, we aren't going to know what's in those cups. If it's a metal cup that you can't see through, we have no idea.
But you wouldn't anyhow.
Oh my goodness, I'm not going to go through, you know what?
You wouldn't anyhow. If somebody's walking down Main Street with something
For
in their
safety
cup.
and regulation, it's in every DORA.
That's what the.
I mean, Bowling Green uses cups. If you want to pull in other places and say, well, they don't do this, well, you know what? Pull in other places and they do use
Okay,
designated
the
cups.
state does not require it.
The state does not require it, but it seems to be a standard practice. I went and did research this week just to see where we're at. Vermillion requires cups,
I'm sorry, Dee.
And they-
I told him, thank you for doing
And,
this.
and they charge $1 a cup so that
And that's-
it offsets the cost of the cups and offsets the cost of the program.
And that's what we wanna do. Oh my gosh.
I'm not saying that's what we wanna
put
do.
added cost to everything, and we
No.
wanna put this back on.
That's not what I said.
I'm sorry.
I said, that's what the other communities around us are doing. That's why I looked at this to see where we're going. There's 167 doors in the state of Ohio.
Sure.
Okay? And they all run it somewhat different.
Sure,
All right? I looked at 5, because that's all I had time to deal with.
sure.
Most of them require the municipality be protected. Vermilion's the only one that I can find online that says they do not require the protection,
What protection?
Usually insured.
the additionally insured protection.
There's a lot more of them out there, but go ahead. I thought we were talking about the cups, not the.
I'm looking at the
Yep.
area, Vermilion popped up by accident.
Sure.
It was outside the range I was looking for, but Vermilion popped up. They pay for the insurance themselves, but then they charge $1 for the cup to offset the program.
Charge $1 to who?
To the business owner.
Establishment.
Guess what? Mr. Smith, your bar is gonna buy cups from us. How many do you need? They're $1 a cup, and they pass that on to the business.
And that business passes that on to the customer.
Correct.
That's exactly right. That's what I'm saying we don't wanna do, guys.
I agree, I'm telling you how a different program works.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't we just watch?
Josh, what is the price of a cup?
It's been a while since we both looked. Mason, you recall? It's going even now. But I mean, our thought process was just to sell it to them. They can buy it off of, through the link we give them. They just buy it themselves. We don't make any profit. That was my whole thought from the beginning.
Where's the
We
door?
weren't making any profit off it.
I wasn't trying.
No, and I wasn't,
Right. No,
I'm just
no,
throwing out there what
I
other places do.
But I just wanted to.
I do
know.
research.
Right,
That's,
right. And
Told me too, but I thought it was 30-some cents, but that's just.
Per cup,
20 to 30.
30-some cents per
I wanna
cup.
say.
a requirement that beer and intoxicating liquor be served solely in plastic bottles or other non-glass containers in the area. Could you at least, come on, guys, I mean, help a business out. There doesn't need to be an additionally served, and it doesn't need to be served in anything but a non-glass container. Who cares what they serve it in? If they want to serve it in a pitcher, then allow somebody to walk down the street and sit at a table and watch a band or play a game of cornhole, or if the establishment wants to serve it in a can that's non-glass, right, and put it in what they call down at the bowling alley, they put it in a bucket, right, and you buy 6 of them and go sit and watch a band. What does it matter? You're gonna know if I got a can of Yingling that I drink, it's gonna be quite clear what I'm drinking. So what does it matter what the container is? So that's, it just.
I don't have a big issue with the container. That I would take up with the police chief and see what he desires. I don't care, because I know when I was 18, 17,
You're gonna,
stuff would get poured into
See, I
other
believe
containers.
when you're carrying around pitchers of beer, I believe that's just opening too many other things, avenues that could go wrong. Underage drinking, all kinds of things. I'm sorry, I believe that could happen. I believe we need the designated cups, and every place around here uses them. And it's also just to control the situation, to know that, okay, they've got alcohol, or they're getting too much alcohol. And I'm sorry, Mayor, again, I don't understand. It's literally just to help regulate it and help, so that we keep our town safe, we keep all our citizens safe. I mean, alcohol can go sideways. And so,
Agreed.
okay, so we don't want pitchers of beer, and that's just it. That's why we're regulating it, because we don't want pitchers of beer walking down our street and then possibly serving underage kids that all they have, I'm just saying, Mayor.
The state has a requirement of, I think, 12-ounce cups. Don't hold me to that.
well, I just read to you the state requirement, the state, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I just read to you the state.
There is, if we don't put any regulation on it, Richard, then they can carry around pitchers of
Okay,
beer. And that's why we did the Dora cups.
and you know what, it might have been a village of one of the town, it's not in the state.
Yeah, it's
It might have been one of the towns that I read.
What I just read, Richard, was the revised code, what they require from the state.
When that's what I was looking at.
Yes.
But I looked at quite a few communities, and one of the communities must have had that requirement then.
Guys, can we try it out until we find, I mean, guys, we're trying to put bells and whistles on stuff that there doesn't need to necessarily be bells and whistles. Okay, we're trying to regulate where there doesn't necessarily need to be. How many problems have you ever had when you guys hosted the beer tent, Hunker?
Not really.
Have you ever seen when we had a downtown festival? And I'm not saying it could go sideways, that's why we have the police department there, guys.
But we had it all fenced off.
Yeah,
And
yes.
I do know, because I did some research on this beer garden.
Yes,
If we have a beer garden,
yes,
and it's in the door area,
yes.
they cannot bring anything in, but they can leave, and it states right in there.
Absolutely.
It has to leave in a cup.
Yes.
Yes.
So if I do a
So
12
that's-
ounce,
yeah.
if I do a 12 ounce can, I have to dump it into a Dora cup. Whatever the Dora cup.
Yeah. And I don't have no reserves with that, and I'll tell you why, Hunker, because you're gonna be set up right by where the band's at, guys. You're gonna be set up right where the entertainment is. It's no big deal to walk right back into the beer tent and get a beer, that's all that I'm saying, and I agree. But that law pertains to, regardless whether you're in a Dora or not, you cannot walk, you can't go from a Dora,
Yeah.
I cannot buy a beer from the Eagles and walk into the whistle stop with it. It has to be gone and disposed of before you go in there, guys. There's rules and regulations that already regulate this, and now we're trying to over-regulate it, and it's wrong. I'm asking that you asked me what I was asking for.
And
Because I know
I'm
you-
down,
yeah.
so you want.
I'm asking.
You want $2 million changed to $1 million for the person that's hosting it. The person that's
Anybody,
hosting.
but anybody,
Right,
like-
well, it's the host that has to carry the two. Everyone else is $1 million.
But I'm not talking about Red Festival. So if somebody from their house is only $1 million?
No.
I'm sorry, but,
If, like, food vendors.
yeah.
They have to be $1 million.
That's gonna have to be
Right,
consistent.
it's the festival host, the one who's hosting it, that has to carry $2 million. You want that changed to $1
$2
million?
million, yes.
The Dora.
What about the homeowner, D? The homeowner that might have the street shut down.
That he's talking about a block party.
I'm talking about like the
$1
conversation that you had.
So you, that's what I'm saying, you
Yeah,
want to change.
I wanna
it
go
to-
down to the
Okay.
maximum $1 million.
Okay, well, now, it's $1 million, not maximum $1 million, it has to be $1 million. That's, now, are you
Sure.
asking that it just be maximum $1 million, or what are you saying?
Well,
So does the block party have any of these things?
shutting the street down?
It shuts the street down and allows them to
Yes.
have alcohol.
No, insurance, the insurance part of it is different.
What did I miss?
You're talking about the insurance again. If the if the attendance is not exceed 50,
Believe me, the party that we're talking about, the Cottermans, it exceeded 50 people.
Yeah.
Okay? Yes, and it's great. I'm glad for them.
All right,
Right?
so.
That's what we want.
I'll just go out on a limb here and say this. I don't have a problem going down to $1 million.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
I will agree to that. The Dora, you don't want anyone named as additionally insured.
No, ma'am.
Okay?
I think that, here's why. I just want to, because the liability coverage is already there. Yeah, I do believe that every business that is in the door, or even does business in the village of North Baltimore, needs to show that they have liability coverage to protect the village. I agree with that. They have to have liability insurance if they are doing business on village property. If they're buying or selling or setting up on village property, just like a food vendor or anybody else, I agree, they should have to name the village as additionally insured.
Okay, so then on the Dora, what you're asking is that the establishments do not have to name North Baltimore as additionally insured. Is that correct? The established participating in the Dora,
Unless they set up on,
I'm saying, the way it is right now, if they participate in the Dora, you do not want them to have to name us as additionally insured.
Yeah.
That's what you're asking.
I'm not saying this to be a smart
No,
aleck.
I'm
Isn't
not.
that what I just said?
Yeah. No,
Okay,
I'm repeating.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
making sure I
Yep,
understand.
I got you, yes. Please.
For that, I disagree with.
I know
will
you
not
do.
agree with that.
I do.
And so that's just my opinion and my vote.
Well, I'm hoping I can get 3 of them to agree with me.
So, on the Dora cups.
Yes.
Again, you're asking that we not use Dora cups, that they can use any container that's plastic that they want.
No,
But
no ma'am.
plastic can, and not,
Says-
everything was
Plastic.
glass.
I'm asking that
Not
we
can.
adopt, I'm asking that the establishments be allowed to adopt the state
Was it-
cited law, which says a requirement that beer and intoxicating liquor be served solely in plastic bottles or other non-glass containers in the door area, period.
And that, I don't agree.
And leave that up to the establishment. They can, and we have,
I believe, and like I said, after talking with the sergeant, he agreed as well that we needed door cups. So, was there anything else? that-
no, I think those are the, let me just make sure. I took some notes. Let me just make sure.
Most of mine are the agreements with
Right, and we need to change the
meetings,
wording
yeah,
to make
change
sure that.
where it's council,
And
not.
Tim, I think me and you
Okay.
talked about this too. I think that we should have if it is a parade, there should be a separate one pager, because that's completely different than all these things.
So right here,
Well, yeah, like a parade only form, yes. Probably that old one modified to take out anything that doesn't have to do with the parade. Because when we talked about that, we took, like we were talking about when we have the school or whoever does a parade. That's
Homecoming parade.
well,
completely different.
Like this weekend.
at the end of the day, it seems to me like it's only gonna apply to us who created a 501c3, that's how I'm seeing this, and it's only gonna apply to us.
Well, my God, I hope we have more people that want to come and host festivals here. So it's just you right now, your committee, but it's also the council that's doing the summer festival.
Yeah, you need to make sure that you're allowed to do that. I would check into that.
Well, of
And-
course we can host a festival.
Okay.
But I
We
more
hosted
just want to be
last, we hosted
consistent.
yours
Oh,
last
yeah,
year.
100%.
Yes.
So of course we can do it.
Okay, I'm sorry, Tim, what did you say?
No, I just want to be consistent with our thing.
Let's talk
That's
about
all
that
we're
more.
doing.
I think I have some answers for you.
And then we need clarification on the shelter houses and things like that, because that was never our intent to.
I understand
So
that.
we'll
That's why I wanted to clear this up.
Exactly right.
That's why we have to talk through this, because when I looked through it, I'm just like, I underlined all, and I was like, oh, 50 people, all that stuff.
Right.
Looking back at that now, going over what Mayor said about the block party, maybe we should change part of that. I agree with the insurance part right there.
Let council direct you on what they want changed, okay? And they'll let you know what they want changed.
That's where we need to be. I just want to make everything consistent and.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, well,
Are we,
no, yeah, if he called it, no, Tim, this is not coming off this year.
Do I have a motion for adjournment?
It will stay on the ballot,
What'd you say? What one?
this.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing,
Are we adjourned or not? I'll be glad to talk to you about this in the office, Nick.
yeah, I would.
Do I have a motion for adjournment?
You can't take a motion, you just
Okay.
gotta adjourn.
Yeah.
You can
We're
take no
adjourned.
action.
Thanks.